Hey everybody, in today's video we're going to be going over some demos I played during Next Fest. There will be more to come, so stay tuned for more as well. First up, we have Death Trash. It's by a studio called Crafting Legends, which is based in Berlin, and this is their first title. The setting is post-apocalyptic where the planet is dry and there's lots of fleshy lumps scattered around. The game begins by telling you a little bit about the world, and then you are thrusted into a small room. When you approach the android in the next room, you find out that you were cast out of the Citadel because you're infected, meaning you are now free to roam around the world. On your travels, you fight different types of enemies. In the demo, I only found bandits and mutants. In the town is where we start to move the story forward by trying to understand more about the infection. After adventuring a little bit, you are able to craft bullets, lockpicks, health tubes, as well as many other things. You are able to level your character and upgrade different stats and skills, such as being able to talk to little meats, or the animals in the game, as well as your standard ones like weapon proficiency, lockpicking skills, tech skills, and so forth. At the start of the game, you are able to customize your looks as well as some of your stats. The demo was actually a tad longer than I thought and lasted about close to 2 hours for me. You were able to explore the first 4 areas, one of them being the town. And I messed around with both a gamepad and mouse and keyboard to see which I liked better. The combat isn't too difficult on the controller and actually plays really well, though I did prefer the precision of the mouse when shooting. Stealth also plays into advantage by being able to backstab for more damage, which is perfect for the more armored enemies you'll encounter later on. There is the option for local co-op, which would be fun to experience in a game like this with someone else. You can either share a screen with someone or have 2 monitors so each player gets their own screen. I do love the gritty aesthetic, and to me the art is just beautiful. Like the intro pixel art is just amazing. The ambient soundscapes really set the mood for the game and at times creeped me out, which was awesome. The demo gives you just a little bit of story, but from what I've played so far, I'm curious to see where it goes. To me, a lot of times when you've been watching a game progress through development, you sometimes realize a game doesn't play how it looks. But with Death Trash, it played exactly how it looked, and that was what I hoped for. I love the dialogue is quick and to the point and doesn't throw long-winded lore at you like Fallout games. Another point that I like that kind of goes with that is that when you pick up lore items, instead of cluttering up your inventory, you're given the option to memorize them. So it stays in your little journal and you're free of inventory space, which is another awesome thing. I got to the end of the demo and I'm really excited for it, and actually releases on August 5th on Steam, Early Access, and all other platforms next year. But yeah, this is definitely one to watch out for. Next up, we have Terra Nil. As someone who loves city building games, this one caught my eye instantly. Terra Nil is from Free Lives, who brought us the gem Broforce. It's also published by Devolver, which is usually an instant buy for me for most of their games. In Terra Nil, you start on a barren plot of land with only a few tools to boot. Instead of destroying the land with pollution, you have to reclaim the planet's ecosystem. You have one that rids the ground of toxins, another to grow grass, and one to create water. There's also one to create rocks, which are used to plant wind turbines, which obviously powers everything in the area. And finally, the last structure is one that drills a line into the ground for you to form rivers. The one downside is that, 1, it takes up a lot of space, 2, it also pollutes the area around it, so you would have to detoxify the area. Everything must be able to connect to the turbine to maximize their efficiency. When you create more diversity, you gain more energy, which is actually the currency in the game. Once you unlock the second tier, you must create different biomes. One to make a forest, which needs a solar panel and a fire starter to work, as you can only build a forest on burnt land. Another creates meadows, which requires a tree to put a beehive on, and the difficulty in that is that usually there's not that many trees on the map. There is another which forms wetlands, and that obviously needs to be placed near water. There's a research center which reduces the cost of the structures as well as reduces the size of the excavator. Oddly enough, I didn't really use it, which might have been why I kind of struggled for a little bit with the cost during the early phase. Once you have these built, you must fill your little circle in the bottom left to ensure all 3 biomes are finished. Finally, to finish a map, you must build a plane with recycled parts of all the buildings you created. In order to do this, you must create recycling structures that tear down anything around them. Then you must send drones on water to collect the parts from loading docks, which are all situated along water. There are also 2 pylons you can build that change the temperature and the humidity for the area. Honestly, I didn't need to use the temperature one as my area was just fine, surprisingly. You can also tell how much you need to adjust either by looking at the circle on the bottom right. Humidity brings rain to the area, which fills empty rivers, and I actually really enjoyed the sounds of the thunder that would roll around the area. I love this idea, and at times it was almost like a puzzle trying to remove everything when you're recycling. The music is calming as you would expect from a game like this. I saw in a recent Twitter post that there will be a tropical area, and it makes me really excited to see what else there could be. In my opinion, it'd be cool to see snow, or possibly a city ruin that you must overgrow and reincorporate it back into nature somehow. Overall, I really like this game, and I could see it expand a lot more from where it's at right now. The devs seem to have been responsive and have been patching the demo. I only ran into one bug when trying to place a structure. It would go over the wrong piece of land, which thankfully was fixed after a game restart. This game has a truly original idea behind it, and I totally welcome it. From what I can tell, there's no announced release date as of yet. Next up, we have Bear and Breakfast from Gummy Cat and published by Armor Games. It's a management game where you build up a little resort in the middle of the woods. It starts out where you are a bear who is just walking through the woods with his friends until he meets an elderly woman who wants to turn her derelict lot into a resort. This game is an alpha, but I did not really run into any problems while playing. For the first 20 minutes, I was a little worried because it felt like it was going a little too slow for my taste. But once you finish a few tasks, more options open up to you. Once I was able to start building and decorating, I started to really enjoy it. Games like Graveyard Keeper and The Sims are a weakness of mine, and this game kinda fits that bill. Building the rooms reminds me of Prison Architect as well, because in each room you need special items as well as a certain size. There are a few rooms that can be built, like a kitchen, bathroom, heater room, lounge, and of course, bedrooms. The amount of cosmetic stuff and tools to use is pretty good as well. You can buy cosmetic outfits and furniture with trash that you pick up around the woods, the storekeeper being a raccoon. There is another shopkeeper to the north, a turkey, that sells food items for your kitchen as well as blueprints for furniture and utilities to craft such as a sink or toilet. The kitchen is interesting as you can buy new recipes and make the food the guests will eat, which improves their views of the place as well. Something that I do wonder about though is if you're always going to have to make the food or if they'll add a way to kind of automate it. It's not like it's hard to make multiples of a dish and just serve it, but still, it's nice having to worry less about that and focus on the rest. Speaking of that, once you open for business, you will start getting requests from guests to stay at your lodge. Each guest has their own wants and needs, and you can match them with a room that meets them. Some want more leisure, so building a lounge would help with that, while others want warmth, which gets a little trickier. To keep the heater running, you must supply wood, which isn't hard to get. You just gotta salvage it or buy some if you have the money. You can buy items to help improve the rooms and provide more comfort to guests, like adding more essentials in the bathroom or upgrading the utilities in the kitchen. My only problem with the game is a minor one. Walking around feels like it takes forever, but I guess if you were stampeding around, you would scare guests. I mean, if I saw a bear walking around my cabin moving furniture, I'd be a little shocked by it too. The game has cute graphics and the music's pretty simple and mellow. It works for the game. Only the East cabin is unlocked in the demo, and I'm curious what they have planned for the other 2 you unlock. I'm kind of interested to see what they will do with the rest of the map and see if your resort expands or what the rest of the story will be like. As for release dates, it looks like it will be released at some point this year on the PC and Switch. Well, that about does it for today's video, and stay tuned for part 2 where Christian goes over his demos that he played. If you like what you saw, make sure to like and leave a comment below about what games in general you are excited for. They don't have to be ones from this video, just any kind. Thank you for watching and have a nice day.